You're live.
It's up. Let's go.
All right, what's up, y'all? This is the first series. Y'all done seen us before, but we stepping it up this time. The dynamic duo is
Indeed.
back. The dynamic duo is back in full effect.
We are here.
Unplugged, untapped, unfiltered. We're gonna talk about real life stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Indeed. Big blessings. Bless on top of more blessings, y'all. Hey, if y'all aren't even tapped in, first of all, tap into the situation room. We've been able to help a lot of people. Shout out to Jay for creating a safe space for us to grow, a safe space for us to scale, a safe space for us to be able to hold each other accountable. And that's exactly what the situation room is about, And if you're not tapped in. But if you are tapped in, shout out to you and welcome to the dynamic duo.
So let's get into it, man. Humble beginnings, entrepreneurship experience. What is it like for you, JJ?
And honestly, Jay, I'll be real. I feel like growing up, I feel like I've been blessed. One, shout out to Rochelle, which is my mother. She's done amazing things. And the more I grow in this space, the more I realize what she has done. Because she, first of all, raised me. Dad was there for probably about 5 years. I was about 5 or 6. When I got about 5 or 6, he was out of there. Whatever happened between them happened between them. But mom, she did a great job. I've been in and out of countries, cities, states, very fortunate. Not understanding what was going on though. She did that to keep my mind occupied. And I feel like exposure is key. Very, very key when it comes to life. And being in this entrepreneur space, I see it more and more every day how prominent it is and important it is to be exposed. She kept me in different sports, sports groups, camps, education groups, just being able to expand my mind, but also keep me occupied because of what was going on at home.
Right.
And she's a very smart lady, and I say fortunate because I had everything. We know we weren't rich. Mom just made it happen. That lady just made it happen.
That's
She
that
man,
that's
that
that
lady's
that's
a
that old school
superhero.
right there. That's that old school right there where, you know, that make it happen at that make it happen. They the originals of making it happen.
Bruh, bruh, I'm talking about I didn't need for nothing. I didn't believe in Santa Claus, but I had Christmas. Every Christmas, I had everything I wanted. When I went to school, I was the freshest. I had when I went to school, I had all the pens, paper, everything I need. Everywhere I went, when I was on the
Hmm.
football field, I had everything. When I was on the basketball court, I had the Iverson sleeve. I had everything I needed and wanted. Shout out to Dion because I I was on my Dion when I was in Pee Wee. But I just say these things to say, like not everybody is exposed to these different things, and I don't take it lightly. And when you get older, you gotta now provide for yourself, and that's when I started to experience the difficulties. And that's when I was like, oh, mom's really held it down, and just being able to think back on those things allowed me to stay relevant in the entrepreneur space. When I say relevant, don't get it twisted. We're not talking about being a quote unquote influencer. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about being relevant, still being able to pour into people, still being able to give people what they need. And you can't give people what they need if you're not exposed. You can't give people what they need if you aren't tapped into understanding what it is they've been through. And we don't always we don't always know exactly what people go through, but when you have a sense of empathy, I had that sense of empathy through my mom, being able to understand that people come from different parts and ways of life. And me being able to grow up and be exposed to everything and being grateful, I realized there's people out there that didn't have the things that I had. So I wasn't just spoiled brat. You know what I mean? I was a person that I was always grateful, and I was always understood that there's always somebody out there with less than. And don't get it twisted, just because, I grew up with everything, and then when I got on my own, I had to, provide for myself. I still understood that those experiences that I had and that exposure I had made me who I was. So I could lose everything today and I'll still be high energy. I'll still be understand that these things don't make me. You get what I'm saying? I could
For
lose
sure.
all the jewelry, lose the car. It doesn't matter. The things that I've been through made me who I am. So I think exposure is key. And shout out to Rochelle, man. She's a superwoman. Like I said, I can't talk too much about it, man. It's just a blessing. When you
They the
see a
one,
smile on her face, man, it don't
man.
never go away.
Indeed, those are the ones that make a difference because a lot of people don't have that kind of exposure early. And I think when you
Indeed.
like, and if you be, you take all the emotions out of it and you really examine it for what it is, and you see how some people turn out as opposed to other people turn out, it be those key things that individual was missing that made them angry, that made them act out, make them feel a certain type of way, make them go a different path. So when you hear them stories, and that's in life general, your experience creates how you interact with people. It creates how you act in certain situations. It creates your your chain of thought when you in certain situations. And it's the same in entrepreneurship. Until you build up enough experience, the more experiences you build up, the better you deal with certain situations.
Oh, let's go, Jay. Yeah.
That's just a fact.
Yes.
Like, I can
Indeed.
go back to when, you know, my humble beginnings and how I was exposed to certain things. I wasn't exposed to certain things by, or should I say on purpose. I was exposed to things, um, I should say indirectly by happenstance, and just
Yeah.
took those situations and made them work for me over
Got
time.
you.
You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
when you talk about, like, my grandparents raised me because my parents wasn't able to raise me. So my
Mhm.
grandparents was old school. They grew up in Louisiana. We know how them stories go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In the 20s, 30s, 40s in Louisiana. So they left Louisiana to come to California for the so-called better, getting out of the South, right?
Yeah.
So their what's molded in them is work ethic. I have to work and do these things just to survive. It's not a matter of education because they didn't have that. It wasn't a matter of status because they didn't have that. It was
Hmm.
whatever skill set I have, I'm gonna work this skill set to be able to provide better for mine. So
Nice. Yeah.
they did that. So now you move up one generation because they're raising their sons, which is my uncles. So the whole focus in them raising them is we didn't get an education, so I'm gonna do all I can to make sure you get an education.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they instilled that into them. But then in their generation, which is your 60s and 70s, here come the drugs and everything else. So although they got the education, they also got hit with all of the racism, drugs, and all the stuff that come along with that. I.e., my father was one that fell victim to that. My other uncles didn't. They made it all the way on through, but it's always a casualty. No,
Yeah.
nobody's.
Yeah.
It's always a casualty somewhere. It's always gonna be
Indeed.
somebody that slipped through the crack that don't make it. But
Indeed.
so when I came along, you gotta think now. My grandparents at that age had pretty much already lived their life. You see what I'm saying? They didn't raise their
Yeah.
kids and everything else. Now here I come. But that's how family was then. It's family oriented. Next man, it's next man up. Regardless of
Yeah.
whether it's the grandparents or auntie or uncles, it's next man up. So when they raised me, we that come up under the same rules they was come from. You got chores, you come home, you do your homework, you got chores, you go outside, you play, you come back in for the street lights on. It's discipline in there, but when you little, you don't understand the discipline yet. You just know this is
So
what you're supposed.
you felt like it was harder on you because of their type of discipline.
Well,
Is
no,
that
I don't
right?
consider it harder because you only know what you know. So if you get
Okay.
exposed to this pattern of things from a time you can understand it, it's normal.
Okay. Okay. I got you. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can at that point you can't say it's harder or easier because what are you comparing it to? If this is all you know,
Where
you don't know it's harder or easier until you witness it at one of your friends' household or something else where theirs is different, their program is different than your program. You know what I'm saying?
indeed
When
got you.
you got that one friend. What you mean? What you mean you can stay out past the street lights? Where they do that at?
Yeah.
What you
Yeah.
mean you
Yeah.
don't have? What you mean you don't have to take out the trash or nothing? Where they do that at? They do that at your
Yeah.
house? You know what I'm saying? Like it's those type of things. But when when you get older and you reflect back, you be like, those was valuable traits that was being instilled because
Got you.
I got the best of both worlds. My grandmother was domestic, old traditional,
Mm.
stay at home, house clean, cook, all that type of stuff. Even though she did work, don't get it wrong, because my grandma worked. You hear people talking about all the wives staying. No. My grandma went to work for years,
Mm.
down in the garment factories, crocheting. But then when she got older, she stopped. They was both retired. My grandfather was a butcher. So in the household, guess what habits I picked up? The cleaning, the cooking,
Yeah.
learning how
That
to
responsibility.
crochet and stuff like that. And at the time, now people I think, oh, that's soft. You was crocheting, you was using needles like they might call back then they might call you sissy or soft or whatever the case may be. But it wasn't that. It was to me when I was doing that, it was quality time with my grandmama and I was learning something. And I one of them types that like learning stuff. So
Where
it was I was learning it, sewing, all that type of stuff like that. But the balance in that is on my grandfather's side is feeding the dogs, washing the dogs, washing the truck, cleaning the yard, raking the leaves. So now you're getting the masculine side of it,
okay,
catching the
yeah.
chickens, plucking gutting the chickens, skinning the chickens, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like you getting exposed to that early. So those are all skill sets that when you become adult, I still use to this day.
Where yeah, I respect that.
You see what I'm
I
saying?
that and I can relate to that too, because I was the only child. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So I had to really get to it. If I ain't do it, mom would be like, "Man, I'm working 3 jobs and you ain't doing. You just did that."
right.
I'm like, "Oh," and I felt some type of way, like, "Hey, she right." I feel bad. Like I really gotta get to it. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get to it. So the the I want to say I was probably in yeah, I was still in middle. I was still in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
So this was right before I went to middle school. So this is I want to say 5th grade, and this is when I first started messing with computers. You asked something for Christmas. I asked for something. I don't know if it was a racetrack or something. I asked for a Hot Wheels racetrack or something. I asked for, and I ended up getting a Commodore 64. Probably the best thing I ever got
Mm-hmm.
because all I did was play with that damn computer. And I learned the inside it out that until the school ended up getting one and nobody knew how to use it.
Oh, you was ahead.
I was
You
ahead of
was
the curve.
already on.
I was ahead of the curve. So guess who got ended up being assigned to be the one at school to do the computers for the teachers, which kept me
You
from having to do work and other stuff that everybody else had to do because I was doing that.
in 5th grade.
5th grade. This is in
Oh,
fifth
you was
grade.
up.
I was up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I didn't. You get to the age where you start like probably fifth going into middle school. You get to that age where you be like, I'm doing like you're not even doing what you're doing for you. You doing it. I'm doing it for my grandparents. I'm not fit to
Yeah.
disappoint them because I realized where I could have. I started realizing where I could have been, and this is what I mean by experience. Because when you in school, you around a bunch of other kids, So when they have assemblies and different stuff like that, and you playing with your friends and you see they mother and father and you see different things, you start realizing who got what and who don't got what and whose situation is worse off than your situation.
Yeah.
You start noticing that. Like you start noticing parent conference, you times you go to parent conference and some people and some parents don't show up.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Right. So then you start having those conversations with those other kids and they telling you how jacked up it is at home and stuff like that, and they hanging out at your house more than they hanging out at their house because of their situation. You start paying attention to, oh yeah, let me stay on my point because I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be that.
Indeed.
But
Yeah.
when that first phase of it, when you wasn't really around playing with no kids, all you knew was your program. But once you get older and you
Right.
get mixed in with other, because that's when the peer pressure starts. Because you've been scripted to move this way. Then you get around friends and other people, and when you get around them, they moving different. And then when you don't move where they move, because you know you're gonna get in trouble for it, what happens? Oh, you scary. Oh, you this. Oh, you that. Oh,
Yeah.
you a punk. Oh, you this. You get that kind of peer pressure, especially in the
Right.
hood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially in the
Yeah.
hood. I'm quite sure it's in the suburbs too, but it's different. It's a different level of pressure.
No, I feel you because me personally, we grew up. I grew up around the hood. Like all my cousins, they was in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Mom always. It's funny because she always moved so that I could be in a better school district. But
Mm-hmm.
all my cousins and friends, they was always in the hood. So I would be in the hood, but I wouldn't just stay there because I had to go to practice. I had to go here. I had to go. Moms would pick me up. You know. But what you're saying is key because I started to realize those things that they live different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And mom was always that butterfly that was always. She had Asian friends, white friends, black friends, and then so did I. So even my black friends would tease me because I was with my white friends. And
Mm-hmm.
then my white friends thought I was cool because I'm the only
It was
black
black.
friend. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I was still the man. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
Because I had
Yep.
everything and everybody liked me. But understanding the different hardships that each race or group of people had, and you brought up that a really prominent point that when you see how other people live, you start to think like, yo, this is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm raised different.
Yeah. You raised different.
Yeah,
Yeah, even though you were
yeah,
saying like, so I got like to this day, I got day one friends that when I say day one, I mean from elementary school playing kickball down, you know what I'm saying? Where our
right,
lives was parallel in in the sense that we our households and everything was the same. Like, you know what I'm saying? One homie, his grandma raising him, like my grandparents raising me. Another homie, same way. Or you got the other parallel of that where it's a single mother household and raising him. Then you got the other friend that his household is a shit show. He hang out at our houses more than he hang out at his own house because you know what I'm saying. Like, so you got that
right.
whole dynamic. Then you got another set of friends that their situation is so bad that those are the ones that start off early when you talking about like gang banging and violent and doing those type of
Mm-hmm.
things early. You got that element of friends. You know what I'm saying? Because of how they
Yeah,
household is. They parents on drugs and in and out of jail and everything else. So what you think when the kid got to fend for a child got to fend for itself, it follow the same path. It's follow the same pattern.
they go from what they know.
They
Yeah,
go from what they know. So you got to remember. So we talking about early '80s at the height. We talking about early to mid '80s at the height. So you got dudes that just entering middle school that's full blown active.
selling drugs in middle school,
Everything.
banging in
Banging,
middle school.
selling the whole nine. The full blown active. They not even driving yet. Full blown active. So you getting a mix of it all at one time. Cause this, like I said,
And
this ain't.
you in California too?
And I'm in Compton.
Golly. I'm in Texas. We hearing all kind of stuff about California. I'm
Yeah.
like, yo,
I'm
and
in the
the
epic.
media.
I'm in the epic
the
center.
media gonna push the
Yeah,
bad narrative. So it's
exactly.
like
So
y'all
you
was really
imagine,
out
so you
here.
imagine that not just being in California, but in the epic center of it. Like I'm
Hmm.
literally in Compton. I'm in Compton Unified School District at the height
Yeah,
when
no,
NWA and everybody was the whole that whole era right there. So now,
yeah, no, I couldn't imagine that.
so you imagine like so in the way the school district, I mean, school district pretty much work the same now, where depending on where you live, your elementary school, middle school, and high school is already set where you going. Long as you live within that zip code of that area, them the three schools you get to go to. You don't get to go outside of that unless you go private or you got to put in some type of transfer, use your auntie address or something like that to
Yeah,
go to school
yeah,
somewhere else. So your
yeah.
schools is already set out on where you supposed to go. So let me tell you how crazy, and this is Compton and Los Angeles school district. This is how crazy it is because hoods is cut off in sections. This one hood might be these 8 blocks. You know what I'm saying? And that's that
Yeah.
hood. You cross past them 8 blocks, you in another hood. You cross to the right, you know what I mean? 2 blocks, you in another hood. That's how small the neighborhoods are. So in elementary school, you in one school. That school is in one hood. Your middle school is in a different hood, and that hood don't get along with the hood in that in elementary school. So when you get to middle school, it's
God,
it's three elementary schools that end up all having to go into one high school. I'm sorry, one middle school.
I'm middle
So that
school.
means you putting 2 to 3 gangs in one middle school that don't get along with one another. Then you get to high school. In high school, it's the total opposite because in middle school it was so you got 3 elementary schools that feed into one middle school, and all three of those hoods is Crip hoods, but they don't get along with one another. But then you get to high school, all of the Crip schools gotta go to the high school, and it's all bloods. So you get 3 middle schools, 3 middle schools that have to go to this one high school, and it's all blood. So I mean, you putting in kids from Crip neighborhoods into a blood high school,
Yeah, high school,
plus
yeah.
plus blood sets that don't get along with one another.
So was there even an option when you went to high school?
No,
Like,
because you that's what I said. Either you have to switch and use your auntie or somebody address in another school so
yeah,
you can go there. But either way you go, you still end up in conflict with somebody
right,
because it's
got you.
so many neighborhoods that these two neighborhoods don't get along, but they still got to function out of the same high school.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. I didn't go to another state. Like, get me up out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. Call me what you want. I'm up out of here, man. I gotta go to
So
practice. You know what I'm saying?
you have to learn early to navigate these shark infested waters.
Yeah,
So and now so and then we in an era where we you walk to school.
yeah.
Like it's very few people that got dropped off at school. Parents dropped them off at school. A lot in that era, a
Hey,
lot of people.
mom's dropped your boy off. I ain't even take the bus. You know what I'm saying? Mom's dropped me off. I have lunch from the crib. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
see,
Shout out
here's
to
the thing.
you.
That was see, that's a like in our generation, right? To walk to school was like I'm a big boy now. I can walk to school. So it was like a
Word,
badge of honor. It was somewhat a badge of honor to be able to walk to school on your own without, you know what I'm saying? So you would leave in early, walk to your partner house, scoop him up. You walk to your next partner house. So it'd be 4, 5 of y'all all mobbing the school every day. So
word.
it was kind of
See,
like a
that was
badge.
me. That was me after school.
Yeah. So you get this sense of, so that's like the camaraderie of just being boys and walking to school, right? But then you
Hmm.
also had this element of danger every day because the city in itself is active because
Hmm.
this is the gang era. So you
Yeah,
still got dudes doing drive-bys, you still got doing all that. So where else can you find somebody you looking for than after school and before school?
right.
But even though we kids, it's still the same thing. So I told you, it's kids that's in they preteens that's all the way active. They going to
Yeah.
YA already, all that. So they fully engulfed into it, and they mixed in. So you start learning how to play neutral. But even playing neutral, or you walking home, people can tell which way you walking home, which way you going, and know, oh, you from over there, just by which way you walk home. So we
God,
had
that's
this,
so wild.
yeah. So we had a situation where we was walking home, and dudes jumped out. You know what I'm saying? You get an older dude bringing in the younger dudes. Like older dude would be driving, like he'd be a high school dude picking up the middle school dudes that's from the same neighborhood,
Yeah.
driving, looking for somebody to jump out on and rat pack them or beat them because they live in the other neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it's been days you had to run home. It's been days you had to run to get away. It's been days you had to fight. You had nothing to do with nothing. Then you get the conflict of friendship because you grew up with certain cats. You play basketball together at the boys club, all this type of stuff. So y'all know each other. But
Yeah.
he may be gang banging. So now
So
he at the
he got to put in work.
yeah. So he at the school that don't get along. He from over here. He don't get along with the neighborhood over here. But we at the same school. But we know each other because we friends.
Right.
So now if he get into a fight or he get jumped, even though he gang banging and you not, that's supposed to be your partner. So now that exposes you, and you ain't even banging, but that's your homie. So now you got like it's decisions that's always being made on that could be
Yeah.
detrimental one way or the other
Yeah. Yeah.
at all times.
So
Because if you
how did you even like? How'd you? I guess for the sake of words, how'd you make it out?
you gotta think your way out. You gotta be able to.
Well,
That's why you learn early how to assess a situation and how to. I don't need to be in this situation. I need to move. Let me move so I don't get caught up in this. Let me move so I can. Let me go over here and be in the whatchamacallit, the gifted and talented classes. So I'm in a different set of classrooms than everybody else. Let me go over here and play in a band or something. So I'm not entertaining. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You find different ways to maneuver.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let me, you still play sports and all that type of stuff like that. But after a while, it's a it's a level of respect that you end up getting if you stand on your ground of what position you taking. You
Right.
kind of get that respect, but it was still always something that go along with it though.
Yeah. But I also think, Jay, like even when you sharing these stories, it shows the different dynamics of people we have in the situation room.
Yeah,
And I'm just correlating from what you're saying and what we're talking about to what we're actually experiencing now. Because we got people from all over, different walks of life, different cultures, and still we all come together with the idea to grow and expand. You see what I'm saying? But
mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, you're able to still be able to relate in these different dynamics. Because I learned a lot from you when it comes to tech. I didn't know you was techie in fifth grade. So that explains a lot of what you were able to teach us and what you were able to share. And even when you talk about the gang banging, it says a lot to how like you're able to maneuver and bring all these people together and still be able to meet a common goal.
Yeah, because you have to. It's like how because when you sit back and you like I can't go back and explain to my grandparents about some street stuff they ain't never had nothing had no exposure with. They not gonna
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it. If I tell them no, I can't go to this school because they not get that because they gonna be like your uncles went there, you go there because why they set in their ways.
right.
So just like right now, how time change, how tech changes
Yeah,
all the time. It's
yeah,
like when you look at the generation behind you, right? And you look at how
yeah,
much they use tech and how early they putting iPhones in the kids' hands and stuff like that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? They gonna be like, and say you don't keep up with it like that, and you talking to one of your nieces and nephews, and they trying to tell you about some app you can use, and you like, I don't know, but go on, I'm doing it this way.
yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. They already set
Okay,
in their
yeah,
way. So
I
how
got
can
you.
how
Yeah,
can I navigate this situation? And because they can't move, I already didn't realize like they can't move. Where they gonna move to? If I get out here and get to tripping and doing something or get into it somebody that can't move, they done grew up, raised their children here in this household. Where they gonna go? They embedded into the neighborhood. Where they going?
Right. And then
So like,
if you do, now you're bringing trouble to the house.
right. So how? So you gotta figure. Not so I'm out here gotta figure out how to navigate two sides of a coin. The street side, and I got to figure out my household side. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because my brother was in the pens. Both my brothers was in the pen and all that. They was older than me, but they was in the pen already. So what am I gonna do different and move different? Like, so like I remember like middle school. I get to middle school and there used to be a mini market on the corner, and I ain't gonna never name Mr. and Mrs. Harris, and they used to let me come in before school and after school and work at the
Mm-hmm.
mini market. So
Yeah.
now, once I start working in the mini market before school and after school, all the kids used to come in and, the slushies, the chili fries, the red vines, the candy, licorice, all that type of stuff like that. So I'm in there selling, being a cashier. So now all the kids see me there.
Yeah.
So guess what happens? You end up starting, that's the dude to work at the mini market.
Okay. Yeah. Got you.
You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
your
Yeah. Yeah.
narrative changed. So now when they see, they be like, "Oh, dude, don't be tripping. Don't be sweating. Don't be sweating, homie." It
He at the
becomes that.
yeah. He work at the mini market.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
work at the mini market. But
Yeah. Yeah.
inside working at the mini market at the same time, I'm learning a whole different thing now because now I'm understanding how business works. Because I'm watching these two older husband and wife run this store.
Okay. Yeah. Got
So
you.
so
Got you.
when I go with them to Smart and Final to restock candy and stuff like that, and I'm watching them what they paying for a box of candy wholesale, and then I'm watching what they sell it for in store. I'm learning that,
Yeah.
oh, this is the game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I may be selling this for 50 cents, but when I buy this whole box, if I break it down, if it's 24 Snickers in this box and I bought this whole box for $5 and I'm selling them at 50 cents, and oh, that's where the profit is.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm
Okay.
learning,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is how this works. This is how profit is built. This is how, okay, I'm learning this in, you know what I mean? This that literally was my, probably, I ain't gonna say it was my first job because I used to do other little odds and ends, hustle stuff in the neighborhood, rake leaves, stuff like that. But I'm talking about as far as being in a real business environment.
Right. Right.
That was
Right. I
that was
got
the
you.
that was the first that was it right there. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, this how this works. Okay, this how the game works. This is it right here. Then they had, the video games in there and stuff like that, where you play like Double Dragon and all that type of stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'll see, oh, that's how you make money on that.
Okay.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
you paying for the game one time, but people study coming in putting quarters in it on a regular basis every day.
And you see that, you like, okay, this is where the money is being made.
Right. Because you remember them games was 25 cents. Somebody might sit there and play $3, $4 worth of quarters in that one game trying to beat it.
Yeah.
Because you gotta remember video games wasn't all that, those arcades was the thing at that point.
Hmm.
You had your Atari and all that stuff that came out like that, but as far as like graphical video games, they was all arcade games that you had to go put quarters in to play before they made it to the small box in your house.
Okay, so that was the real break into business and quote unquote entrepreneurship at that point, right?
Right, because after I seen how it would work, I started doing it on the side.
Yeah, it's so crazy because my first break, I worked with my pastor, but he had a side business and he was selling suits and ties. But he would go and buy from the Goodwill. He buy these ties for 25 cent, 50 cent, and sell them in his store for about like $4 or $5.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the game, so I started buying. I ain't buy $4 or $5 from him, but I say, hey, I'll buy 12 to 20 ties. He'll buy them for 25 cent. I'll buy them for like 75, maybe a 75 cent, $1, and I'll go to eBay because we had internet. You know what I'm saying? That's when internet first really broke. And now I'm selling them on eBay for 15, $20. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So that was my first break. But I think when it comes to entrepreneurship, everybody gotta have that first experience from somebody that's already that has done it already.
Yeah.
And with me, just being around, mom put me in these different environments, in these father figure environments as well, like the coaches, the pastor. Pastor was he was actually really close to our family through my dad and my mom since I was young. So he understood that they had some hardships. Even his wife, they all took me in and took me to different places. But being able to that being a safe place, that's where I learned my first entrepreneurship, as far my first experience of entrepreneurship, and then being able to expand in that way. I ain't never really had to sell drugs. I tried it. I ain't gonna lie. I tried to sell weed. I tried it. I was the worst. I was the worst. Hey, I thought because I thought I was helping them. I would get the weed. I would get the weed, Jay. I would break it down before I sell it. Like
Like you finna
let
use it.
me yeah, but let me help them though. You know what I'm saying? Let me let me do some of the hard work, and they get it. Like, man, what is this? I was like, oh no, they get mad. They want to fight me. Like, this ain't it. Like, this ain't for me. So,
No.
so it never went that way.
See, I
But
had that.
yeah,
I had that element. I had that element too because, like I said, my cousins and all of them, they was in the streets like that. So, like in the summertime, one of my biggest hustles I used to do with my cousin, Big Kush, rest in peace, was sell fireworks.
okay, okay,
So every summer, when it was summer, April, June, July come around. I mean, not April, but like May, June come around, coming into July, that was the hustle. We used to.
fireworks.
He had a green Astro van, and we used to get around and get at it. We go by, fill up the whole back of the van full of the all the illegal fireworks, all the illegal fireworks that you couldn't get at the stand, and ride around Compton to all the ballers and all of them and sell all fireworks. That was our hustle. Every summer, that was it.
Hey, you know what's crazy? When I moved out here to LA, y'all pop fireworks year round. So I can imagine y'all pop fireworks
Hey, I
all
say that,
year
I say that,
round.
I say that, I say that till this day. Like one of the dopest spots on 4th of July. Like you could take before they shut it off, where you couldn't get up there. It was a hill by on the backside of the airport at LAX. If you go all the way down, all the way to the beach, right before you get to Dock Island, you made a right and went behind the airport. Halfway down between the airport, you can make a left, and you used to go up on this hill. Used to be houses right there before the feds took them away from them because 9/11 or whatever. So there wouldn't be no homes overlooking the airport. But it was a hill that went up there where you could look over at the beach when the sun set, and you could look back
Mm.
over the airport, but you could see all of South Central.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you could go up on that hill on 4th of July and just sit up there, and that fireworks show would kill any Disneyland, any amusement park, Times Square, anywhere in Paris, Dubai. I don't care where you at. If you ain't never seen a
Yeah.
South Central Los Angeles fireworks show on the 4th of July as a city, bruh. Now you can go there if you like you downtown, you know somebody downtown, and you get up on the rooftop on some of those the condos and stuff they built down there on 4th of July, bro. You can sit up there all night. The fireworks show is as soon as the sun start to set, you're gonna start seeing fireworks jump off, and it's gonna go all night till 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Cause that's a beautiful scene
Over,
over there with
yeah, that
yeah,
whole
yeah.
city, the whole they can post whatever they want over in Manhattan Beach, all them about no fireworks, illegal fireworks, this, that, and third. It don't fly in South Central.
Where
It does not work. It's every block, every block. It's a and when you look at it as a whole, you can't. It's all night, bro.
yeah, yeah. No,
that's the
I can
biggest
see
fire.
that.
That's the biggest fireworks show it is.
I can see that. Cause like I say, I came out here, man. It's fireworks after July, August, September, October. And then next thing you know, it's New Year's.
Yeah,
And that shit go to March, and next thing you know, it's July again. I'm like, God, this don't stop.
yeah.
And
New
then
Year's a little
you don't
different.
know if it's fireworks or guns, because the fireworks go off and then the pop, pop, pop. It's
That's
like,
what I said.
God
That's New
dang.
Year's. On New Year's, you gotta be careful on New Year's. You catch a straight bullet on New Year's because it be fireworks and guns. On 4th of July, it'd be a little different. It'd be
Word,
all
word.
fireworks. You might be loose shooting, but it's mostly fireworks.
Indeed, indeed.
So
Hey,
then,
so when it comes to like your experience, Jay, as far as you growing up, having gone through those different elements, and then going and learning how to make money, at the mini mark, and then selling the fireworks. Like, how and when did it come to the point where you started to understand what it is that you wanted to like stick to? Because a lot of people go through these different experiences, and when you hang around different people, you start to gravitate to what they do. If somebody sell clothes and you hang around them long enough, you might just have a clothing line. You might have a brand, and then you hang around people that's selling cars. You might start selling cars. When did it come to the point where like this is my lane and this is what I'm gonna do?
so the first lane was being I had the computer and all that was the graphic side of it. So doing graphic design, that was my first lane. And then, um,
You were exposed to that in the fifth grade.
yeah, well, the computer aspect of it. But as I grew, um, I that's one thing you get somebody a computer that's a techie that like they get to drifting off into other stuff. So back then, software was very expensive. Adobe Photoshop was the only graphic software at the time that was beyond everything else when it came to doing graphic design.
Mm,
But back then, they didn't have like the subscription model they have now. One license was like $3,000, $3 or $3,500 just to get the software. So what I end up doing is I learned about the dark net as far as being able to get the bootleg software.
okay, got you. Yeah.
So I ended up downloading and getting a, a good one, and that's how I was able to get Photoshop. So now I'm headed the curve again because most people can't buy a $4,000 software or into it like that. So that
Mm,
gave me an advantage. So now in high school, I get to high school, um, the homies. Well, when I get to high school, I had enough credits in my 12th grade year. We only had to go to school a half a day. So they had this program that was a school to work program. So at lunchtime every day, the bus would come pick you up and it would take you to your job site where you would go work. That place where I went to go work was Rockwell, the space division where the shuttles they used to build the shuttle parts and all that stuff at over in Lakewood.
mm,
So I used to be in charge of setting up the tours for the schools to come in and tour the space shuttles, getting the gravity room, all that type of stuff for all the schools throughout. So when I got there, right before I graduated, well actually no, I graduated and everything, and I went from part time there to full time there. So I was doing graphic stuff on the side. That skill set translated into the work that I was doing too. So that opened up another
mm,
door. So I was able to get there full time. And then I was scheduled to get a promotion to the lady who I was training up under because she was fit to retire. And
word.
I came in one day and they had gave everybody pink notices.
Well,
All
I
these
mean,
people
everybody
that
finna get fired.
yeah, everybody that had been there 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, that's fit to retire and all this old stuff, they pensions and all that. They told them they was all going because Rockwell was closing. They was closing that facility. It was only be certain divisions that would stay. Rest would move to
Yeah.
Lancaster until they had to um, finish out a couple of contracts that they had. So anybody that was on those contracts got to stay, but everybody else had to go because they was shutting down. So when I seen it, I'm like, oh no, that'd never be me. No sir. That was a reality check for me
Yeah.
because I realized that your livelihood when you work in corporate or a 9 to 5 or whatever, your livelihood is based on that job. How far you go, where you live at, what you eat, where your school kids go to school. Your whole livelihood is attached to that them hours that you put in,
Yeah.
and you have no control over when they decide they don't want you no more, or they go out of business because they did something wrong, it had nothing to do with you or nothing, and then you left holding the bag trying to figure out what you're gonna do in life. So if you was at a place where, especially in these days and times, so let's say you've been somewhere 10, 15 years and you at the top of your pay scale, you making 40, $50 an hour or something like that. And then the company just tell you you going out of business. The
Hmm.
the high probability of you going from there to another job and you make the same that you done worked your way up to there is slim to none.
Slim and none. Yep.
You could be making
Facts.
50 here and now you're going to get the same position doing the same thing somewhere else and they paying 25.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that was a
Yeah.
reality check for me. And I'm like, that never happened to me again. So it was at that point where I started getting down on my own. And I've been getting down on
Mm.
my own ever since. I think I only took like probably maybe two other jobs in that period after that. And that was just temporary
Where?
while I was trying to do.
Where?
So now when I graduated, the homies they was at um uh, uh Cal State Northridge. So when I got out of high school, I had started an entertainment company. I was doing club promotions. The homies was at Cal State Northridge. I used to go hang out at Cal State Northridge and sell the bootleg software to the students, the Adobe, CAD CAM, all that type of stuff like that. So while
Yeah.
other cats was at school selling weed and all that type of stuff, I was selling software and stuff, bootleg software and stuff to the kids.
That boy good. That boy good. Let's
I
go.
used to be in the classroom. They thought I went there. You know what I'm saying? They still people right now talking about I think I went to see son. I didn't go to see son. I was just there. I was, I'd be in the
Yeah.
classroom, everything, till I got caught a few times. They be like, "You ain't supposed to be in here." Oh, my bad. I was just hanging out with.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have my backpack on, everything with the burnt CDs in there. The CDs already burnt. What you need? CAD CAM. You need dope Photoshop. You need what you need. You know what I'm saying? Microsoft. You need
Yeah.
Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? So that was
Full
my
time hustler. I love it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was my thing. So
Yeah.
that's how I end up transitioning. And then, like I said, I never looked back from that point on. I just kept building on top of building the skill sets on top of skill sets on top of the skill set.
Yeah, and I think that's important. The fact that you caught on to understanding that your skill set is really that's going to pay you, and being exposed to those type of environments. Because me personally, I was always surrounded by older people, and I've always thought like, yo, I ain't got to go through these different situations. If I see something happen to somebody and it don't go right, then I'm cool. I'm not going that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
My mom got laid off. She got another job. Other people around me, they had bread. I always been around money, but at the end of the day, there was people around me that had money, but they wasn't happy. So me going through life and then going to school. School obviously wasn't paying me, but I went to school because I wanted to make moms happy. And it's crazy when I think about it because no matter what I was gonna do, moms was gonna be happy anyway.
Right.
So I got in debt trying to make somebody else happy. When I really
Mm-hmm.
think about it,
Yeah.
$50,000 in debt trying to make, but I still got exposed to those different experiences in college. So going to college, I understood like, yo, we ain't got no bread around here. Like we got to figure it out. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Of course, you got these meal plans, and I was fortunate enough to be able to get. I can't even say fortunate because he still got a loan.
Yeah.
I'm still, you know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Still got a student loan. But at the end of the day, the older people around me that had money, they weren't happy. So I was going through life still hustling, selling ties, selling suits, just getting going um uh these different stores like Goodwill and then just reselling. You get
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then also seeing people that's going to 9 to 5 that didn't have time for themselves. And also me, I was always surrounded by women too. So I'm in and out of girls' dorms and I'm just living the best life. But at the end of the day, my pockets is cool, but it was nothing stable.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So understanding that a 9 to 5 I was in and out of 9 to 5, but I understood that having a skill set is the only thing that was going to allow me to be successful in life. But I didn't understand how to fulfill my purpose, because I would always say, Jay, like, I want to be a person of value. I want to be able to get into a room and be able to help any and everybody that needs help, right? So knowing that got me into doing several things, but knowing that having having a skill set was going to save my life as far as being financially free and fulfilling a purpose. So I got into, outside of being uh, in an entertainment business, that was fugazi, that was superficial. I started, I got into being a massage therapist. That got me into the anatomy, understanding how the body worked. And for me, that was everything, because I can literally go in any space and be able to be a person of value in that space. But
Mm-hmm.
also, I'm only one person. I thought I could save the world by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
No, Jay. When I started partnering with different chiropractors, different doctors, and I'm working out of 3 or 4 different cities here in California, but that's spreading myself too thin, my energy too thin. So then that's when I got into the entrepreneur space and the digital market, and just being able to speak life into people, because people were always around me because of my energy,
Yeah.
because of how I was able to move through different environments, and just being able to just still be happy in my own skin, and move with grace. You feel what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Once again, shout out to my mom. But knowing that skills is the only thing that's gonna, one, pay the bills, and then two, allow you to fulfill some sort of purpose in life. And I think that's the most important thing. But you can't do that if you're not exposed. If you don't try
Yeah.
different things, you'll never know what you're really good at. I didn't think that I was going to be a medical massage therapist. I didn't think that I was going to be rubbing feet for for a living. But at the end of the day, there was something deeper into that. You feel me?
Right.
So I can literally stop everything and be able to go into a doctor's office or a chiropractor's office and be able to be a person of value and literally help people. I've been able to help people walk again. Different experiences that will people will remember me forever in
Mm-hmm.
in that sense. But going back to skill set, I think it's very important. And once again, shout out to you for understanding what your skill set was through the hustling and the busting. But at the end of the day, like, you still a person of value when you walk into the
You
room.
know what
And I
the
think, that's something everybody should know.
Yeah, but you know what the biggest thing out next to skill, actually I would put it before skill set. That's the most
Mm.
monetizable thing is information. Like
Yeah, okay.
I
Yeah,
learned
yeah, yeah.
I learned to add I learned early to add value into my circle, into my network.
Where?
So what I mean by that is when you functioning in a circle, whether that's friends, family, business, or whatever you at, like the bigger your network, they always say your network is your net worth, right? But they
Mm-hmm.
they gauge that premises on the people that's in your network has value or has more value than you that can make you have value, right? But I always looked at
Yeah,
that. I looked at that different. So it's like I don't believe in. I never like the fact if I'm in a situation or I'm in a circle or I'm in a group or I'm at a function or something, and somebody say they need something or are looking for something, and I can't monetize that opportunity.
yeah. Okay, I got you, Jay. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
see what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah,
was always big on the more I know that's gonna be a value somewhere, some place in time. I might not know what it is at this moment, but at some place, sometime, that thing that I know, I will be able to sell that information to somebody that don't know it.
yeah. That's good. That's good. It just hit me real quick. I mean, I be having outbursts. That's
so
good. That's good.
so that's how I always looked at it. You know what I'm saying?
Uh
I
huh.
need to know as much as I need. I don't need to master it. I don't need to be a
Yeah.
master at it. I just need to know its intricacies, how it works, the value of it, understand it completely to be able to articulate it
Yeah,
or be able to hand it off to someone that says, I need this thing. Oh, I got that for you. Or if I even if I know somebody else that I can play the middle of it, I'll play the middle of it. But
yeah,
I see, because like I said, you always talking about opportunity or network. Well, you can create a worth out of your network.
yeah, yeah.
So I
Hey,
always
based on what you said, my bad, Jay, but
no,
based
it's
off
all
of what
good.
you said, I think I'll now I think I've been doing that off of default, like starting years ago. Well, I'm gonna say about 4 or 5 years ago, and not
Mm-hmm.
like what you're saying right now, and me just wanting to always be a person of value. I've been doing that, and I think that is, well, I know that is the most valuable asset that I have. But when you put it in those eloquent words, it makes so much sense. But I had to say that because when you're around people, and we've been rocking for a minute, you
Mm-hmm.
start to you start to pick up those different things, and being a person of value with the information and being able to monetize it, that's super key. But go
Yeah,
ahead, I
because
just had
it's certain things that it's all depends on how you want to play it, right?
yeah,
Just like you could come to me and ask me, or I could hear you talking about something, and you could be saying you about to pay $500 for something, and I hear you talking about it, right?
yeah,
And I could say, "Nah, JJ, go over here and get this, and you're gonna be able to get this for $100 for a lifetime."
yeah,
I didn't have to sell it, but just in that gesture of me knowing something that you didn't know, I put you in a different place. So what does that do between me and you?
it builds a camaraderie.
Exactly.
Yeah, and trust. It's a trust system now.
Right.
Yeah,
So it don't always have to end in a monetary gain for me.
where
But if you in my circle and I see that you doing something that I know you can do something for less, or it's something better than what you're about to use because everybody else using it, and I'd be like, no, go here. That's from experience though.
yeah,
That's for me. That's them late nights sitting up reading. That's them late nights sitting up trying different stuff. That's those long days when everybody else was doing something else. I was reading, or I was studying, or I was testing something, or I was whatever the case may be, or I was staying abreast on something ain't nobody else staying abreast on.
yeah.
I,
Eventually, I will pay you. Eventually, that's another thing because that
right.
trust system is there
In some form of fact, because it might be
in
something you
some
have that,
form. Yeah,
yeah, it might be something you have that I may need, or whatever the case may be.
yeah,
But the
yeah.
thing is,
No, that's
you
good.
you in a position when that happens to be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's real good. Those of you that are not tapped in the situation room, I'm sure there will be a link, but you want to tap into the situation room, and we do this talk about once a week, but we have masterminds on Friday. So I think it's important for people that don't have people that are smarter than them or like-minded than them, and most importantly, like-hearted group of people that are willing to elevate and be able to grow with inside an environment, but most importantly, in a group that just want to see each other win. Because there's a saying out there that says, they say people don't want to see other people do better than them. And I don't think that is 100% true, because I've experienced that inside a situation room. Like I experienced the contrary of that inside the situation room, and other groups of like-minded people. So I just want to be able to highlight that, because we got these different sayings that we say, but it doesn't always. Another saying I want to highlight is when people say we can't come together. That's not true. We've been together, like we've been rocking for a minute, and it's from group to group. So I'm here as a testimony to say, like, we can do this together as a unit. Like, we can grow, and I say we meaning our culture. Like, we can do it together, and we have been doing it together. So if you're experiencing the the saying that we can't grow as a unit, like come tap in. Come tap in and get that experience and exposure, because if you're not exposed, you'll never know that it exists.
Yeah, that's that cliche that everybody always run with, you know, because in real world experience, we as a culture always moved from an independent standpoint. Most times when you see us move together as a unit, it's for something that's destructive to the culture anyway. Gangs, all that type of stuff like that. You see them running packs in that situation, but then even that is short lived because most times when something go left or somebody got to get on the witness stands, it be turns individual again. It don't be I'm staying
Mm,
down with you. It be turns back to individual again.
yeah.
No, not me. It was you. You know.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it be turns that, or you know what I'm saying, you get inside behind those walls and you have no choice but to move as a unit. Otherwise, you're gonna get plucked off if you ain't, you know what I mean, you don't stay within the boundaries of the unit. So
Yeah.
it's always mesmerized me that you gotta be in the most hostile, most dangerous, most jacked up situation to move as a unit for the purpose of survival, but you can't do it out here on the street because as soon as money get involved and everything else, it's all I, or you
Mm,
create a group, but you want all the accolades of what you did. You want all the pats on the back of what you did, but you're not
yeah.
really bringing nobody else along with you. You just want to be talking about what you did. It's always what I did, what I put together. I was the first one to do this. I was that. I was this. I did this. I did that. Y'all not grateful for what I did. This, that. It's always what I. You can't. It's
Right.
not.
We got
It won't. It won't work. It
nah.
won't work.
It's
You can have.
we
You
start
can have your
start being bilingual.
it's you're right. It's like you talked all this time, and all of a sudden you forget that you bilingual when you're talking about I, but you can't get to we. You can't learn French though.
Yeah. Yeah. Learn that French, now. Get that in the system. And I
So
realize you can go so much further with weed. You know what I mean? And I believe that came from me, being in, playing sports and things like that. But, of course, you got these, some people are all star athletes that it's an eye, and they only get so far. And we see those stories all the time. So when you start saying we and move with people that agree with we, it's not even sky's the limit. It's not even stars the limit. Like everybody's a star in the sky at that point, and we just come together and we just, we create greatness. And that's what's really happening in my life throughout the people that I'm connected with. And Jay is somebody that's connected in my circle. Everybody got their own circles, and remember, like me being able to grow up in communities of white people, being able to grow, communities of Asians, communities of black people. I understand like everybody that you are connected with in these different circles aren't going to be get along with other people in those other circles. And that's okay. That used to be my downfall. I used to try to bring people from this, even inside the black community, different circles inside the black community. I try to connect people with people, and it just don't work. And then I'm the problem because I connected this person with that person. I'm like, yo,
mm-hmm.
I just try to make it happen for y'all. You
Right,
feel what I'm saying? But even when it comes to the whole culture thing, like everybody is not going to be connected with everybody. So, but at the end of the day, you have to have your core group of people so that y'all can grow. And most importantly, so that you can grow. Because if you're not exposed to other people's habits or other people's experiences, then you will be in this same little bubble. And I believe that's something that's been like a superpower for me, because I'm able to grow with different type of people that have different personalities, and I can still be myself. I don't have to be acclimated, or I don't have to conform to this person's culture just because I'm in their group. No, I'm still me. I bring
mm-hmm.
a certain value of me. So, having that we understanding will only make us better. But everybody's not going to see that. So you can't be connected with everybody, and you can't connect everybody with everybody.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. You definitely gotta do some screening to a certain extent because some people still got, you know, bad habits. Some people still got they thought process and how they approach things is still, not there yet. But I think that has more to do with the environment that they reside in than it
Mm,
does the individual. Because if
right.
all you used to, if your whole circle is a bunch of people that just holding you down, talk negative, not expired, not trying to do nothing, or paranoid, thinking, this gonna happen, that gonna happen, you gonna have the same mentality. So when you get into a different environment where people on some other thing, your whole thing is you off put because you think it's unreal because you haven't seen it. So you got a hesitation about it.
Yeah,
So that means
yeah,
you really don't believe in the movement. You don't even believe it's gonna happen because most people
right.
move off emotions first, i.e., 2020, 2021.
Oh, this gonna be a whole nother hour, Jay.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna see
Yeah,
that
yeah.
comes with it. But that 2021, man, that was more detrimental to the culture as a whole than anything.
Hmm. I believe it. I agree.
Because what you gonna everything that come out past that it just all sound like Charlie Brown. Blah 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 blah. Because you
Yeah.
got people now, you starting to see, you got people trying to remix 2020 and 2021 and repackage it up and make it look different.
God, Jay.
They feel it's an
Jesus.
opportunity. They feel it's an opportunity right there to do the same thing, sell the same crap. So they trying to repackage it up and make it look different than what it looked in 2020, 2021.
Word.
But it's also uh, a section that came up out of there that learned something, right? And they're gonna bubble from that point on.
Wait, what do you mean by that? The
What
bubble. The
what I'm
bubble
saying
part.
is what I'm saying is it's some people that went through those that went through there, took L's,
Yeah.
invested in things that they thought that was gonna change. It didn't happen out that way, but they still learned something, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're gonna take those lessons and they're gonna regroup from them, and they
Yeah.
gonna be better going forward, and they gonna bubble. You know what I'm saying? Out of
Oh,
that
okay.
in a different
Yeah.
direction though, but they went through that experience and got hit in the face, punched in the gut, stepped on, all of that. But they gonna come out, they gonna keep trucking, and it's a section of that they ain't gonna never come back.
Okay, yeah, no, I feel that. Yeah. Damn, that's heat. Yeah, I feel that. And I feel like in my entrepreneur journey in 2020 2021, that's when I built some of the best relationships of entrepreneurs, but also experienced some of the most detrimental financial situations. Not really. For me, it was like it wasn't really detrimental, but I got smacked
Mm-hmm.
a couple times, and then
Mm-hmm.
some of them I weaved.
Right.
I seen it coming, and I just weaved and hit it with a right hook. But I seen other people just get trucked. You get me? So
Yeah.
I was able to learn from that. But going through that, it's like we was in that, so it built a stronger relationship within our entrepreneurship relationship.
Right.
So I feel what you're saying when it comes to that. That's deep, but very very true. 1,000%. I can relate to that. 1,000.
Because my whole thing was, and I was saying stuff early.
Yeah.
I was pointing out stuff early, like, yo, that ain't going that ain't it. That ain't gonna
And
last.
some of the stuff you were saying is some of the reasons why I was able to weave. I
Yeah.
was able to buy and say, hey, okay, I'm not playing this one.
Yeah.
I,
Don't
I
do
get a
it.
water break. I have a
Yep.
water break.
Yeah,
I'll
don't
be
do
back.
it.
I'll
because
be back.
because in that
Yeah.
situation, bro, it be those type of situations that happen where we should have been the biggest thing. That word we. Because
Mm-hmm.
in that movement, if you could have got different packs of weeds doing different things, landscape look totally different right now.
Yeah, yeah,
But it was more
indeed.
about the notoriety. It was more about what I got. It was more about what I did. It was more about what I made. You know what I'm saying? And everything
Hmm.
else was just a casualty of that.
Yeah,
That's it. And that's why you know heard me say 1,000 times. You're gonna see them fall off.
yeah.
You're gonna see them
It's,
fall off.
it's happening.
Right.
It's happening.
Because statistics say so. Damn, I'm not saying it. Even when people call me a hater, whatever. Statistics say so. Because if you really about this and you really understand business and analytics, it's a reason why data analytics is probably the most sought after paying job in any company anywhere. That's a that's a recession proof job position. Is a data analytics. Collecting data is people don't even understand how much money go into collecting data. How you look at company budgets, how much money they spend on data,
Hmm.
analyzing data. Because when you look at that, you can look at any blueprint of 2021, 22 from so-called mentors, coaches, all this type of stuff like that. When you look at the amount of money you have to spend to what you make, and then you do that over time, you will see that it's a dead end. I don't care what a person posts and say what I made in a day, right? It's
Hmm.
365 days in a year. Out of those 365 days, how many days did you make that you bragging about? So if you made it in one day out of 365 days, what the other 364 look like? So it sounds good from a marketing aspect, $1 million days. It sounds good from a marketing aspect, but how can you do that consistently? That means you don't understand your audience. That means you don't understand your climate. That don't mean you don't understand the environment you in.
Yeah,
You it may be a most of it was a come up for people, and I'm not knocking somebody that took advantage of a come up. I'm not knocking that at all. But when you look at it from the detrimental of the people that's the aspiring people that's coming up that really want to do something, it's detrimental because you're gonna be
all
one of
right.
them
Let me
individuals.
ask you this.
You're gonna be one of them
Go no. Go
individuals
ahead. Go
to
ahead.
be
Go
back
ahead.
in the pool. So when you started your $1 million days, you was up there on the stage. 2 years, 3 years later, you back in the pool. You might not be in the same pool you got your million from, but you're gonna be in a different pool. You
Yeah,
ain't gonna be on the
yeah,
stage
yeah,
no
yeah.
more. You're gonna be down in a different pool, or you're gonna do a whole pivot and move to something else because data analytics statistics that showed you that that shit you did wasn't nothing.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah,
you can't get that same $1 million day from the same audience that you got
right,
that $1 million day.
exactly.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So when you do the
That
math across a whole year, how much did you really make? How many times can you that thing that you sold that you made a million from? What's the lifespan of it? The information within that thing, what's the lifespan of it? The content of information that you put in that thing, what was the lifespan of it? I'll give you an example. You make an ebook about the Navy Fed play. You put it out. It's fresh. Nobody know about it. Everybody
mhm.
go to buy it. You make a $500,000 from it. What's the lifespan of the information you put in there? 3 months, 6 months. You're gonna make
Depending
most of
on
your
how
money.
fast it gets around, because
Well, it just got around because you just made this. Let's say it cost. Let's say you sold it for $1. 500,000 people bought it. You made 500,000 day one because nobody know what the play was but you. Now 500,000 people know what the play is. They gonna resell it.
maybe
They gonna resell it.
Navy's gonna pivot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Navy's gonna. That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
go
So
ahead.
what's the lifespan of it? Because you
Go
selling
ahead.
it for $1, you made your 500,000. You bragged about it. Well, out of that 500,000 people, 10 to 20% of that gonna repackage it and sell it again for $20.
Yeah.
So now 1 million people know about the Navy play. So over course 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, what's the lifespan of that before it's irrelevant? So I mean, if you took it to the max and said it lasted 6 months, well, you got another 6 months that it's useless. So I mean, you got to come up with something else for the next 6 months. But your lifestyle is still connected to that 500,000 you made. So whatever lifestyle increases that you did with most people, lifestyle increases, new
Mm-hmm.
car, new crib, new clothes, new women, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that 500,000 is short, very short lived, spent wise. So what's the next month? What's the next move? And in that same climate, it was money just being pushed out that everybody was getting that they normally wouldn't have. So that's why you see 2 years later or 2 years removed, those pool of people don't have the same amount of money. They more cautious about what they spend their money on now.
Yeah, because they just gone through that whole 6 month experience or whatever that time frame may be.
Right.
So what do you think about framework though, Jay?
The
Not
framework,
though, but what do you think about framework as
the frame
far as
for as what?
I guess it doesn't really align. It doesn't align because when we talk about for that example, when we talk about that example,
Mm-hmm.
there's no control over Navy Federal. Navy Federal controls its own entity.
Indeed.
For for the sake of that example,
Right.
and let's say it goes down to PNC,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next play is PNC, and that same framework of creating this product and saying here's the PNC play, and that's
Yeah.
short lived, right?
Yeah.
And then creating that same thing at FMBO. Like, what do you feel about that framework, but based in these specific
So
avenues, I guess?
the framework is, so when you say framework, we talking about the framework of creating the content around that particular entity that has a particular product in which you can take advantage of if you do XYZ.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
All right. So in that same framework, it could work, but here's the one element it's gonna work because you gave the Navy Fed, so they know that what you give is authentic and it works because they done bought it and did it. So
mm-hmm.
you got that on your side. But now the other side becomes in the research of finding what the next thing is and then
Yeah,
proofing it that that concept is actually viable. And you have to do that
yeah,
over and over and over and over again.
yeah. Facts. Yeah, facts. Oh, and then hold on, Jay. It just boom. That same Hail Mary million of the day, Hail Mary find a K today, based off of that first Navy, for
Mm-hmm.
sake example,
Mm-hmm.
that first Navy play,
Mm-hmm.
going on to another product or another service, still saying, "Hey, I made 500,000."
Mm-hmm. Because that become what they call your claim to fame.
Right,
You still trying to
right,
survive off of your
right,
claim to fame. It's no different than a dude that sold dope in the '80s, went to the pen for 30 years, and got back out here still talking about what he did in the '80s. They don't mean
right,
nothing.
right,
It's
right,
what you doing right now.
right. Got you,
It's
got
no
you.
difference. It's
Yeah,
no different
yeah,
about what you did in 2000 or 99 or 2004. It don't matter what you're doing right now.
yeah,
That
yeah,
worked.
yeah,
That worked at that point in time. This is a different time. What works now?
yeah. Back in '97, I had 300
Right.
yards rushing. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Don't mean nothing now. You got arthritis now. What it doing right now? Can you run a marathon at
300
least? No?
yards
Okay.
rushing, bro. 17 tackles. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Three
Okay,
meniscus
yeah.
tears later in a sprained ankle right now, what you doing? Nothing. Waking up with waking up with a You aching when it get cold. When it get cold outside, you in a whole bunch of pain. That's what's going on right
Yeah.
now.
Right. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Indeed.
See, so the
Yeah,
ones
that's
that's gonna be able to stand up is the ones that understand the 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 fundamentals of what continuously churns over and over and over again.
yeah.
And if you see, man, everybody is crossing over. Everybody dribbling. They was strong on right this side. Now they done crossed over. Now they trying to tighten up the left.
Yeah.
You see everybody trying to
Yeah.
tighten the left up now because it don't work.
Hmm.
Them numbers is it, them numbers is depressing. I guarantee you them numbers is depressing. Subscriber
Yeah.
dropping, subscriber views dropping, all that. Them numbers is depressing right now.
Hmm.
So it's like, what's next?
Yeah. No, that's good. That's
What?
good. Hey, if y'all tapping in, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And once again, there will be a link for the situation room. But here's another thing, y'all. We talked about exposure. It's very important when it comes to, yes, entrepreneurship, but even in your own life. Get outside of your city, get outside of your state, get outside of the country, and just be able to be exposed to different cultures, be exposed to different languages, be exposed to different things that'll help you grow within your as a person. Because when you do that and you come back to your city, you got more to give to the people in your circle. You got more to give to your communities, and for me, I feel like that's everything because we talk about time. I always say time is an acronym. TIME, things I must experience. Like, what are you experiencing? The things you experience have to come from the exposure. So whenever you experience these different things, take what works for you, share these things, and be a person of value, but also bless other people. You don't have to have, you know, 50,000 months to be able to bless somebody. Will you bless somebody? If you're able to bless somebody when you're broke, think about the things that will be a blessing in your life. Think about the things that how your life will change when you are exposed to different cultures and different people, and just think about how your essence will grow. You know what I mean? And I think those things are important because they say we only live once, but at the end of the day, today is the day. Today is what's happening, but obviously we got to plan for the future. But Jay, no, I appreciate you 1,000%, and y'all, and like I say, y'all smash the subscribe button because this we just getting started.
Just getting
we
started.
we just getting started in here, man.
We didn't even cut up today like we normally cut up.
Nah, we didn't. But it's coming. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
All right, y'all. Peace. We see y'all on the next side. The dynamic duo is back in action, y'all. Let's go.
Let's go.